I want to talk about your superpower. You have an innate superpower that is the most powerful thing that you can bring into any meeting, any conversation, in any situation. When I work with my clients, we work on leadership skills, we work on communication skills. We do everything we can to up the level of our game in every situation. And then usually what I tell them is so we can play whack-a-mole with your emotions. We can play whack-a-mole with your skills. We can spend a lot of time and a lot of energy acting right in a meeting, making sure we ask the right questions, being curious, doing all these things. But if you want to know the simplest way to do it, I can teach you that. And they're always like, okay, what is that? What would make that? What would make it easier for me? And I always say presence. And they're like, I knew you were going to say that. When we're present, it handles so many things. If you're present in a meeting, more often than not, you will know what to say when there's a question to be asked, an insightful question, or when you're asked a question on the spot. If you're present in the meeting, listening, really listening to everybody, you'll be in the groove with everybody and be able to answer with an answer that's in the flow, rather than waiting for your turn to speak, trying to figure out how to be smart, trying to be curious, trying to reflect, like trying to do all these things instead of just being present. So, how do you know if you're present? Check where you're breathing. We've talked about this before. Check where you're breathing. Are you breathing from your chest, or are you breathing from your belly? You can hear the difference in my voice when I say, "Are you breathing from your chest, or are you breathing from your belly?" When you breathe from your belly, it automatically pulls you down from your monkey mind. It automatically pulls you into your body with it, which is, a center of intelligence for you. So just check where you're breathing. Make sure you're not scrolling on your phone. Make sure you're not checking messages. Make sure you're looking at the people who are speaking. Feel your fingers, feel your toes, and be present. It makes all the difference in the world. If you're in an argument, if you're yelling at someone, if you're angry, if you're triggered, you're not present. When you're present, you're always safe. When you're present, you're not judging. When you're present, you're not trying to be smart. When you're present, you're just there. You're naturally curious. You're listening. Other people can feel you. If you want to change the way someone else is in a conversation, get really, really present, get really in your body and be there with them and listen to them. You'll watch whatever argument you're having start to dissipate, because it's kind of like playing tennis. If you're not hitting the ball back, it's hard to have an antagonistic conversation when one person isn't being an antagonistic. Now, I don't mean you're just shutting down and you're shutting up. It's you're present, you're opening your heart, you're opening your mind, and it's just a complete game changer. Uh, I've told this story before. Way back when I was made VP of sales in an organization, and it was a little bit over. I was a lot bit over my head, but I was the top sales guy. It was not a big company, and they made me VP of sales. And the owners brought me into a conversation with some potential investors. And at this point in my career, I wasn't going to add a whole heck of a lot to that conversation. I wasn't an entrepreneur businessman at that point. So I sat in the room and I prayed, and I prayed for everybody in the room. And I sat in the room and I was present. I made sure I listened to everybody. I may have asked a question or two, but that's it. And I got out of the meeting, and I felt like I got out of the meeting without looking or sounding stupid. I felt really good about just, kind of hiding my hand that I was a little young and a little bit naive to be in that meeting. Both of the owners of the company separately complimented me on how I conducted myself in the meeting, how much I brought to the meeting, how useful and helpful I was. Like I said, I think I asked a question or two. Maybe that's it. The presence, my being present in the meeting, made the difference to them. Isn't that crazy? To this day, this was 25 years ago, and it still sticks with me that they had that reaction, that response to how I was in the meeting. So I remembered that forever. I had another compliment from someone. I was at a we were it was a meeting of a new club at a business club, and everybody was throwing ideas in the mix, and I was just sitting and listening, and then I participated at the end, and we came to some conclusions. It was really good. And then one of the participants in the meeting came up to me later, and he says, "I saw what you did there." I said, "What did I do?" He said, "You listened to everybody. You observed how everybody was being in the meeting. You listened to each person, and then towards the end, you asked a couple of key questions. You made some suggestions that were right on the money. And we wound up going with a bunch of your suggestions." He says, "I saw what you did there." Now, I didn't do that consciously. It's something, but it's something I have learned is to listen, 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 be present, be present, be present, find out what's going on before I throw my 2 cents in the ring. It's more, I think it was more out of fear. And, like I learned it because I always felt like I was out of my depth. Uh, so it was a way of what's the word I'm looking for? It was a way of protecting myself from looking stupid. And it turned into a superpower. Now that I'm a mature 60-year-old man, people see it as present and powerful. But it is such a good skill to just listen, listen, listen. Be with everybody. My ex-father-in-law had a stroke, and this was years ago. And he very, very rarely spoke in groups of people, and you would hear people talk about him and say, "He's like the smartest guy in the room. He's so smart. He always adds so much to the conversation." And I watch him, and he was just very quiet and present. So that present really it fills the gap in so many things. So while you're working on being more ambitious, while you're working on being more assertive, while you're working on being more curious, while you're working on all of these skills, the best debater listens, the best negotiator listens, the best salesperson listens. So breathe from your belly, get yourself present, and the only thing, your mind's going to wander, right? You're going to notice a little alert on your Apple Watch or on your phone. Your email is going to catch your attention, especially if you're on Zoom or something like that. Bring yourself back, bring yourself back, bring yourself back. It's really hard to misbehave when you're present. The same thing with food. For me, I eat when I have feelings, when I'm unconscious, when I'm not present. When I'm present, I can make choices. When you're not present, you do automatic things. So this works in every area of your life. So bring presence to your children, bring presence to your significant other, bring presence to your meetings. It is your superpower. Have a great rest of the day.